Dr. Elias Mercer had spent years traveling across the stars, but nothing had prepared him for the moment he first stepped onto Lithara Prime. The planet was alive with color-glowing plants swaying gently under a lavender sky, and the air carried a scent that reminded him faintly of rain and spice. Birds, or something like birds, darted among enormous trees, leaving trails of bioluminescent light behind them. Elias was a xenobiologist, a healer, and a man who had always believed science could explain everything, yet here he felt a thrill of uncertainty he had never known before. He adjusted the straps on his medical pack and moved carefully through the thick undergrowth. His mission was simple on paper: observe the native life, record anomalies, and maintain a safe distance from the indigenous species. Simple, yes, but simple had never truly existed in the universe. Hours passed as he cataloged glowing fungi and strange insect-like creatures. He had just finished taking a sample from a flowering vine when a soft, painful hiss echoed through the forest. Instinctively, Elias froze, scanning the trees for movement. There, beneath a cluster of tall, phosphorescent ferns, lay a creature unlike anything he had ever seen. It was humanoid in shape but feline in features, with sleek, muscular limbs covered in a short, luminous fur that shimmered in shades of blue and green. Its ears were pointed, its eyes wide and golden, and it trembled as it pressed against a broken branch, breathing raggedly. A deep gash ran along its side, and dark fluid stained the glowing undergrowth. Elias' training kicked in. He set his bag down, keeping his voice low and calm. "I'm a friend. I can help you. This might sting a bit." Elias yelped, stumbling back slightly, but he immediately realized she had not bitten to harm him. The pressure was firm but careful, almost ceremonial. Warmth spread from the wound, a strange, tingling sensation coursing up his arm. He felt no pain, only a deep, resonating connection, as though some part of him had suddenly been recognized. The creature stepped back and hissed, this time more in warning than fear. She disappeared into the thick ferns before Elias could react further. His arm throbbed, but in a peculiar way that seemed more like energy than injury. He inspected the bite. There was no bleeding, no mark, only a faint luminescent pattern forming along his skin, faint and shifting like liquid light. For a moment, Elias wondered if he was imagining it. Then distant voices, or something like voices, echoed in his mind. They spoke in a strange rhythm, words he could not understand, yet the meaning was clear: healer, protector, chosen. His AI assistant, a small hovering orb named NIRA, whirred beside him. Dr. Mercer warning, unknown organism interaction detected. Physiological reaction indicates symbiotic bonding behavior. Recommend immediate observation and retreat to base camp. Finally, he found her again in a clearing, lying beneath a massive, glowing tree. Her breathing was steadier, though still shallow. She looked at him with those wide, golden eyes, and for the first time, Elias felt as though she understood him completely. "I'm going to help you," he said gently, kneeling beside her. He cleaned the wound again, this time applying a restorative gel that would allow her to recover faster. She flinched at first but stayed still, watching him with a strange intensity. When he finished, she slowly rose, circling him, her gaze sharp and calculating. Then she did something Elias would never forget. She leaned forward and brushed her forehead against his chest. It was a gesture of trust, of acceptance, and in that moment Elias felt the world shift slightly. The forest around him seemed to hum. Tiny lights flickered in the undergrowth, and somewhere in the distance, the sound of movement suggested others were watching. Elias felt a chill. "NIRA, do you see anything?" Distance approximately 100 meters. Non-hostile behavior observed. Recommend continued caution. The female he had saved stepped forward, standing between him and the others. One of the larger figures, clearly older, stepped forward, its presence commanding attention. It raised a hand, and a wave of subtle telepathic communication washed over Elias. He didn't understand the words, but the meaning was unmistakable. He has healed her. He is marked. He is one of us. Elias' heart pounded. I don't understand," he said aloud. NIRA hovered closer, scanning. "Doctor, physiological response of surrounding entities indicates recognition of alpha-like status. Probability of leadership designation, high." Instead, they began a series of low, melodic sounds, rising and falling in rhythm. The female Elias had healed stepped forward again, touching the glowing mark on his forearm. The light intensified, spreading up his arm in delicate, fluid patterns. Elias felt warmth, not pain, and a surge of understanding, an instinctive knowledge of the forest, the tribe, their customs. I think they're saying I'm supposed to lead them," Elias muttered. He looked at the female. She tilted her head, golden eyes bright with intelligence, and hissed softly, a sound that somehow felt encouraging rather than threatening. Hours passed as he tried to process everything. The tribe did not attack or retreat. They simply observed, testing his reactions, his patience, and his kindness. Ilias realized that their culture valued healing, care, and intelligence, not brute strength. The bite he had received was a bond, a recognition of his role as someone who could guide and protect them. Night fell, painting the forest in shades of violet and blue. Ilias and the female sat beneath the glowing tree, sharing a quiet moment of understanding. He could sense her heartbeat, her cautious trust, and it filled him with both awe and responsibility. Somewhere in the distance, the rest of the tribe settled into the forest, leaving him alone with her. "Looks like I'm not leaving anytime soon," he said softly, half to himself, half to her. "I guess I've got a lot to learn." Sleep came eventually, uneasy but filled with strange, vivid dreams. He dreamed of voices chanting in a language he didn't know, of glowing lights forming patterns in the forest, and of a future where humans and the Lithari worked together. When he awoke, the mark on his arm was still faintly glowing, and the female was perched beside him, eyes alert and intelligent. Ilias smiled wearily. "I don't know what comes next, but I have a feeling we're going to find out together." And deep down, he felt a quiet thrill, because for the first time in his life, he knew that humanity could belong anywhere in the universe, even on a planet full of creatures who were stronger, faster, and more alien than he had ever imagined. The journey had begun. The morning sun broke through the thick canopy, casting shafts of soft light across the forest floor. "Doctor." Ilias Mercer woke slowly, feeling the faint glow still lingering on his arm. The female Lithari who had bitten him was awake as well, sitting gracefully nearby, her golden eyes fixed on him with an intensity that made him feel both cautious and understood. Ilias rubbed his arm gently, noting the faint pulse of bioluminescent light. "I guess this means you really did choose me," he murmured. She tilted her head slightly, almost as if she agreed, then moved toward the deeper part of the forest, glancing back to make sure he followed. He adjusted his pack and followed her. NIRA hovered close, scanning the area for signs of danger. "Dr. Mercer," the AI said, "the physiological markers of the female Lithari indicate high trust and social recognition. Likely she is introducing you to her tribe. Recommend cautious engagement." The deeper they went, the more the forest changed. Trees stretched higher, their trunks smooth and luminous, and vines shimmered like liquid light. Strange flowers opened slowly as if sensing their presence, and small creatures with translucent wings flitted through the air. Ilias felt as though he had stepped into a living dream. Eventually, they reached a clearing. There, dozens of Lithari were gathered, their fur glowing in varying shades of blue, green, and violet. They watched him silently, eyes shining with curiosity and caution. Some approached cautiously, sniffing the air, while others stayed back, whispering in their musical, untranslatable language. The female he had healed stepped forward first. She made a low, rhythmic sound, a melody that Ilias could almost feel in his chest. Then the largest of the Lithari, an elder with fur patterned in deep emerald streaks, raised a hand and spoke, not in words Ilias could understand, but through a gentle telepathic message that brushed against his mind. "He has healed her. He carries the mark. He is chosen." Ilias swallowed hard, his heart pounding. I don't understand. Chosen for what?" he asked aloud. The tribe did not answer in speech but continued to observe, their postures calm yet commanding. NIRA hovered close, projecting a soft hum. "Doctor, social signals indicate the tribe acknowledges you as a leader figure, likely temporary until further testing." "I've never led anyone, alien or not." Ilias felt warmth spread through him, not just from the glowing mark, but from the strange, powerful trust emanating from the tribe. Over the next few hours, Ilias observed the Lithari. They moved with grace, communicating through gestures, subtle sounds, and telepathy. They were strong, agile, and highly intelligent, but there was one thing that stood out. They valued care and understanding above all else. Strength alone was not enough. Wisdom and empathy mattered. As the day progressed, Ilias tried to understand their customs. He noticed that when they healed each other, it was not just physical but emotional as well. They touched gently, hummed softly, and shared brief flashes of memory or feeling. It was a bond, a true connection, and he realized why the bite he had received was so significant. It had marked him as someone capable of empathy and understanding, someone who could care for the tribe in a way that others could not. During a quiet moment, Ilias knelt before the female Lithari. "I want to understand your people," he said. Teach me. I promise I won't betray your trust. She circled him slowly, ears twitching, then pressed her forehead to his chest once more. The glow on his arm pulsed in response, and Elias felt a wave of clarity, a brief understanding of her thoughts and emotions. He realized then that this bond was more than symbolic, it was real. As evening approached, the tranquility of the forest was broken by distant sounds, the roar of a massive predator moving nearby. The tribe stiffened immediately, ears flattened and eyes narrowing. The female he had healed hissed sharply, signaling caution. Elias' heart raced. He had observed alien predators before, but the sounds suggested something far larger than any creature he had studied. One of the younger Lithari approached, eyes wary, and Elias sensed a question in its mind. What should we do? He hesitated, then realized that the tribe was looking to him for guidance, testing whether he could act as an alpha. NIRA whispered, "Doctor, the predator is large but not immediately hostile. Strategic retreat and environment-based tactics recommended." Let's think this through. He studied the terrain, noting the thick ferns, towering trees, and uneven ground. We don't need to fight. We need to guide it away and protect the tribe. The female he had healed stayed close to him, ready to act on his commands. The predator emerged into the clearing, a massive, muscular creature with scales that shimmered like wet metal. It roared, but Elias kept his voice calm as he instructed the Lithari. Using traps and natural barriers, they guided the predator along a path that led away from the tribe's central area. The creature moved with impressive speed, but Elias' plan worked. Slowly, carefully, the Lithari followed his guidance and the predator left the clearing without incident. The tribe's reaction was immediate. Low, melodic sounds of approval and excitement filled the clearing. The elder approached Elias, eyes gleaming with respect. "You have saved us without violence. You have shown intelligence and care. You are worthy of trust." Elias felt a mix of relief and pride. He realized that his strength as a human did not lie in muscles or claws, but in reasoning, strategy, and empathy. The tribe recognized this, and in doing so, had begun to see humanity's value in a way he had never imagined. Night fell over the forest, and the tribe gathered around a bioluminescent pool, sharing quiet sounds and gestures. Elias sat with the female Lithari at his side. She brushed her fur against him lightly, a gesture of trust and companionship. "I don't know if I'm ready for all of this," he admitted softly. "I'm just a human, but I want to help. I want to be worthy of your trust." As he drifted to sleep, he thought about the path ahead. The tribe had accepted him as an alpha, but there were still challenges. Rival factions might question him, dangers lurked in the forest, and the mysteries of Lithara Prime were far from solved. Yet he felt a quiet confidence. He had proven himself once, using intelligence and care rather than force, and he knew that the bond with the tribe and with the female would guide him through the trials to come. Elias understood something vital. Strength alone did not command respect. Compassion, reasoning, and the ability to connect with others, these were human strengths, and here on this alien world they mattered more than ever. The glow of the forest and the gentle luminescence of the tribe's markings seemed to echo his thoughts. Humanity could thrive anywhere. They could connect, adapt, and earn respect through understanding rather than violence. And for the first time, Elias felt that he truly belonged among these extraordinary beings as a human who could make a difference. The first night with the tribe ended not with fear or tension, but with quiet trust. Elias had stepped into a world where humans were outsiders, yet his skills, empathy, and courage had allowed him to earn a place among them. The bond with the female Lithari, sealed with the bite that had once startled him, had grown stronger, symbolizing a partnership between species. Tomorrow, he knew, would bring new challenges. The tribe would continue to test him, the forest would reveal new dangers, and the mysteries of Lithara Prime would deepen. But Elias welcomed it all, ready to show that humanity had value, even in a world more alien than he could have ever imagined. He closed his eyes beneath the glowing canopy, feeling the faint pulse of the mark on his arm and the gentle presence of the female at his side. For the first time in his life, he felt that he was exactly where he was meant to be. And the journey had only just begun. The next morning, Dr. Elias Mercer woke to the sounds of the forest stirring. Light filtered through the tall, glowing trees, painting the ground in soft shades of lavender and gold. The female Lithari who had bitten him the day before sat quietly beside him, watching the rest of the tribe move through the clearing. Her golden eyes followed every motion, alert and intelligent, as though she could anticipate everything that might happen. Elias felt a surge of calm. She had become his guide, his connection to the tribe, and perhaps even the key to earning their full trust. He stretched, feeling the faint glow still pulsing along his arm. The mark had become brighter overnight, as if responding to his growing confidence. NIRA hovered beside him, its sensors scanning the surrounding forest. "Dr. Mercer," the AI said softly, "physiological responses of the tribe indicate increased trust in your leadership. However, external threats remain active in the area. Recommend heightened vigilance." She demonstrated their rituals, how they communicated with subtle sounds, how they shared food, and how they maintained the health of their young and elderly. Elias listened carefully, taking notes in his mind and slowly understanding the patterns of their society. Every action they took was deliberate, every gesture meaningful. Yet as the day progressed, a low, trembling roar echoed through the trees. Elias froze. The sound was deep and resonant, vibrating through the ground. The tribe tensed immediately, ears flattening, eyes narrowing. The female hissed sharply, signaling danger. Elias could sense the fear and caution in the others, but there was also a hint of expectation. He realized that they were looking to him for guidance once again. NIRA buzzed softly. "Doctor, predator detected, likely the same species as yesterday. Size, massive, approach, imminent. Recommend non-lethal deterrent strategies." He had been chosen by this tribe not because of strength, but because of his intelligence and compassion. He could not let them down. "All right," he said. "Let's think. We don't fight it head-on. We guide it, distract it, and keep everyone safe." He turned to the female Lithari. "We'll need your help and the tribe S. Can you follow my lead?" She tilted her head slightly, ears twitching, then brushed against his arm as if to say yes. Elias instructed the tribe to spread out along specific points, using the natural environment to guide the predator away from the main area. Some Lithari created noise in distant clearings to lure the creature, while others stayed hidden to observe and adjust their positions. The female stayed close to Elias, moving with him, her bioluminescent fur flickering in the soft light. The predator emerged from the trees, larger than he had imagined. Its scales shimmered in dark shades of green and silver, and its eyes glowed with a predatory intelligence. It roared, shaking the nearby trees, but Elias remained calm. He signaled the tribe with subtle gestures, and they moved according to his plan. Using clever positioning and natural barriers, Elias guided the creature along a winding path that led it away from the clearing. He instructed some Lithari to drop bright, glowing fruits to distract it, while others used reflective surfaces to confuse its senses. The predator hesitated at first, sniffing and growling, but the plan worked. Gradually, it followed the path Elias had created, disappearing into the deeper forest. When the danger had passed, the tribe gathered around Elias, low melodic sounds of approval filling the air. The elder with the emerald-streaked fur approached him, eyes shining with respect. "You have guided us safely without violence. You have shown intelligence, patience, and care. You are worthy of trust." Elias felt a rush of relief and pride. He had proven himself once more, not through force, but through strategy and understanding. He realized that this was the true value of humanity, our ability to think, to adapt, and to solve problems without relying solely on strength. The female Lithari stepped forward, brushing her fur against his arm, and the glow of his mark intensified. Elias understood that this bond was more than symbolic. It was a real connection, a partnership between species that had been forged through trust and action. For the next few hours, Elias worked with the tribe to improve their defenses. He suggested simple strategies, using natural materials to create barriers, arranging patrols to observe predator activity, and teaching methods to guide creatures away without harm. The Lithari were skeptical at first, but as they saw his ideas work, their respect grew. They began to listen, to follow his instructions, and even adapt his methods to their own strengths. During a quiet moment, Elias sat with the female Lithari by a glowing stream. "You know," he said softly, "I never thought humans could be useful out here. I always worried we'd be seen as weak. But maybe we have something to offer that no one else does." She looked at him, eyes bright and focused, then pressed her forehead lightly against his chest. Elias felt a warmth spread through him, a reassurance that his thoughts had been understood. As night fell, the tribe settled around the glowing pools and bioluminescent plants. Elias realized that they were beginning to see him not as an outsider, but as a leader, an alpha in their own terms. He did not command through fear or dominance. He led through intelligence, empathy, and action. Yet despite this success, challenges remained. Rival factions within the tribe were still wary of him. Some younger Lithari questioned his strategies, preferring the instinctual approach of strength and speed. Elias knew that earning their full trust would take time. He needed to continue proving that humans' unique skills were valuable, not just to survive, but to thrive in this alien world. He looked at the female Lithari sitting beside him. Her presence had become a source of comfort and guidance. She had been the first to accept him, to bridge the gap between species, and he knew that she would continue to be his ally as he navigated the complexities of tribal life. Elias thought about the future. The forest held many mysteries, and the predator had shown that dangers were ever present. Yet he felt a quiet determination. Humanity had been underestimated, often dismissed as weak or fragile, but he had seen firsthand that our greatest strength lay in adaptability, problem-solving, and empathy. If he could teach the tribe to see this, to value it as they did their own abilities, then they could face any challenge together. As he drifted to sleep beneath the glowing canopy, Elias reflected on what he had learned. The tribe had given him a role he never sought, yet one he had come to accept. The bite that had marked him, the trust he had earned, and the bond with the female Lithari had changed everything. He was no longer just a human observer. He was a part of their world, a bridge between species, and a testament to what humanity could achieve when guided by intelligence and compassion. The night was quiet, save for the soft rustle of leaves and the occasional distant roar of forest creatures. Elias felt the pulse of the glowing mark on his arm, a steady rhythm that reminded him of the connection he now shared with the tribe. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new tests of his abilities, and new opportunities to demonstrate the value of human ingenuity. He knew one thing for certain: the journey was far from over. The tribe had accepted him as an alpha, but he still had much to learn. They would test him, push him, and challenge his understanding of leadership. And through it all, he would continue to show that humans were not weak outsiders, but capable, compassionate beings who could earn respect anywhere in the universe. Elias closed his eyes, feeling the female Lithari curl beside him, her warmth and trust a silent promise of partnership. The forest seemed to breathe around them, alive with light and sound, a living testament to the mysteries of Lithara Prime. And for the first time, Elias felt truly at home, not just on this alien world, but in a role he had never imagined he would hold. Humanity, he realized, could shine even in the most alien of places, not through brute strength or dominance, but through understanding, empathy, and the courage to act wisely when it mattered most. And with that thought, Elias drifted into a deep sleep, ready to face whatever the forest, the tribe, and the universe had in store for him next. The forest of Lithara Prime stirred with unusual energy as the first light of day filtered through the towering trees. Dr. Elias Mercer awoke to a feeling he could not ignore, tension in the air, subtle yet undeniable. The female Lithari he had healed the first day was already awake, standing beside him, ears twitching, golden eyes alert. She sniffed the air, and Elias realized that the forest itself seemed different today, more restless than before. He rose carefully, stretching his arms, the faint glow on his skin still pulsing softly. "What's going on?" he asked the female. She tilted her head, then moved toward a narrow path leading deeper into the forest, signaling that he should follow. Elias adjusted his pack, his mind racing with possibilities. Something was coming, he was sure of it, but whether it was natural or a threat from within the tribe, he could not tell. Nira hovered beside him, projecting soft light onto the path. "Dr. Mercer," the AI said, "environmental sensors indicate rapid atmospheric changes, likely a storm system approaching. Additionally, seismic readings suggest minor tremors nearby. Recommend heightened caution." "Let's see what's happening." He followed the female Lithari deeper into the forest, noticing the signs of minor disturbances along the way, broken branches, small rocks displaced, the distant calls of animals fleeing some unseen threat. The tribe was alert as well, moving gracefully and silently, their eyes reflecting both concern and anticipation. They reached the central clearing where the majority of the Lithari had gathered. The elder with the emerald-streaked fur approached Elias, and this time the telepathic connection was clearer. "The forest is restless. Something is coming. We need guidance, human." Elias swallowed hard. "Guidance, huh?" he murmured. "All right, let's think this through." He scanned the surroundings. The forest was thick, but there were natural shelters nearby, hollowed trees, rock formations, and elevated platforms that the Lithari could use to protect themselves. The challenge was not just the storm, but ensuring that the tribe stayed calm and worked together. He turned to the female Lithari. "We need to organize everyone. You'll help me communicate with them. Lead me to the key members and I'll give instructions." She circled him once, her bioluminescent fur flickering in acknowledgement, then dashed off gracefully to gather others. Elias quickly began assessing the tribe's strengths. Some were fast and agile, able to climb trees and maneuver across branches with ease. Others were stronger, capable of moving heavy obstacles. The younger members were energetic but inexperienced, and a few of the elders were cautious, hesitant to follow a human's instructions. Elias knew he had to balance guidance with trust, to demonstrate leadership without dominating. The first tremor struck suddenly, a minor shake that rattled leaves and startled smaller creatures. The tribe stiffened, ears flat and eyes wide. Elias raised his hands calmly. "Stay together," he said softly, though he doubted they could hear him in human words. He focused on gestures and posture, movements designed to communicate reassurance and direction. The female Lithari returned, guiding him to the elder council. Elias gestured toward the natural shelters, then demonstrated how to move the younger and more vulnerable members safely. Some skeptics hesitated, but as they saw the logic of his plan, they began to cooperate. Slowly, carefully, he coordinated the tribe's movements, combining his knowledge of human safety procedures with their natural abilities. The storm arrived with a sudden gust, strong winds twisting the glowing branches above them and shaking the forest floor. Rain began to fall, though it was unlike Earth rain, slightly heavier, tinged with luminous particles that reflected in the bioluminescent fur of the tribe. Elias realized that panic would spread quickly if he did not maintain calm. He clapped his hands, raised his voice in a steady tone, and gestured toward the shelters. The tribe followed, moving efficiently and precisely, guided by his instructions. A sudden flash of light revealed that a small group of younger Lithari had been trapped near the edge of the clearing by a falling branch. Elias acted without hesitation. He sprinted toward them, the female Lithari close at his side. Using a combination of leverage and guidance, he helped the trapped members free, showing them exactly how to move safely in the unstable terrain. The tribe watched closely, some hesitating at first, then following his methods to prevent further accidents. Hours passed, the storm growing stronger. Trees bent dangerously, and the forest floor became slippery and treacherous. Yet Elias continued to coordinate, moving between groups, using gestures, signs, and the subtle language the female had taught him. The bond he had with her proved invaluable. Through her, he could communicate effectively with even the most skeptical members of the tribe. Finally, the worst of the storm passed. The forest was littered with broken branches and leaves, and some minor damage had occurred to the shelters. Yet remarkably, no one was seriously hurt. The tribe gathered in the central clearing, looking to Elias with expressions that blended relief, awe, and gratitude. The female Lithari brushed against him once more, a gesture of companionship and affirmation. The elder approached again, the telepathic message clear and deliberate. "You have guided us through the storm. You have kept us safe where instinct alone might have failed. You are worthy of trust and respect." Elias felt a surge of pride. He had learned that leadership was not about commanding others with strength or dominance. It was about understanding, planning, and caring for those you lead. Humans were not the strongest in this world, but their minds, their ingenuity, and their empathy had proven invaluable. As night fell, the tribe settled around the glowing pools in the clearing, quietly tending to minor injuries and restoring damaged shelters. Elias worked alongside them, sharing knowledge and learning more about their culture in turn. The female Lithari stayed close, occasionally nudging him or brushing against his arm as if to remind him of the bond they shared. Elias reflected on the events of the day. The storm had been a test, a challenge not just of physical endurance but of coordination, planning, and trust. The tribe had followed his lead, but more importantly, they had seen that humans had value beyond physical strength. They had seen that intelligence, empathy, and problem-solving could save lives. During a quiet moment, he knelt by the female Lithari, speaking softly. "You and I, we make a good team," he said. She tilted her head, ears flicking, then pressed her forehead to his chest. The glow on his arm pulsed gently in response, and he felt a wave of warmth and reassurance. He realized then that this bond was more than mutual trust, it was partnership. Together, they could face any challenge. The elder approached once more, and Elias felt the weight of responsibility settle upon him. He was no longer merely an observer or a healer. He was an alpha in their eyes, a leader whose guidance could determine the safety and survival of the tribe. The female Lithari brushed lightly against his arm, and he smiled. He was ready to embrace this role fully, to learn from the tribe and teach in return, proving that humans could contribute in ways no one had expected. As the night deepened, Elias looked at the glowing forest around him, the luminescent plants reflecting in the eyes of the tribe. He thought about the challenges they would face in the days ahead, predators, environmental hazards, and the complexities of tribal life, but he felt a quiet confidence. Humanity had been underestimated, often seen as fragile and weak, yet here on this alien world, their strengths were being recognized and valued. He realized something else as he watched the female Lithari curl up beside him. Connection was the greatest strength of all. The bond he had formed with her with the tribe, and even with this strange, luminous forest, was proof that trust, empathy, and intelligence could bridge worlds and species. Humans could survive, thrive, and lead, not through brute force, but through understanding, care, and ingenuity. Elias closed his eyes beneath the glowing canopy, feeling the gentle rhythm of the forest and the quiet warmth of the female at his side. He knew that tomorrow would bring new tests and challenges, but he was ready. The tribe had accepted him, the bond had been forged, and the journey of proving humanity's worth in this extraordinary world had only just begun. For the first time, Elias felt fully alive, not merely as a human on an alien planet, but as a leader, a protector, and a bridge between two very different species. He understood that the Lithari had much to teach him, and he had much to offer them in return. Together, they could face anything the forest or the universe might throw their way. And in that moment, beneath the softly glowing trees of Lithara Prime, Elias Mercer felt something he had never felt before: belonging. The storm had tested him, the tribe had trusted him, and he had proven that humanity had value in ways no one, not even the most alien of beings, could ignore. And the journey was far from over. The sun rose over Lithara Prime in brilliant shades of lavender and gold, casting the forest in a gentle, shimmering light. Dr. Elias Mercer stood at the edge of the central clearing, his eyes sweeping across the tribe he had grown to care for so deeply. The female Lithari who had bitten him, the one who had started this journey, stood close at his side, her fur glowing softly in the morning light. Today was the day he would prove, not only to the tribe but to himself, that humanity had a place in this extraordinary world. The forest hummed quietly, alive with movement and color. Birds with translucent wings darted between the trees, and glowing plants shifted gently in the breeze. The tribe was already gathered, anticipation clear in their postures and subtle gestures. There was an air of ceremony, of importance, as if they had been waiting for him to act, to show that the human they had accepted could rise to his role fully. Elias felt a mixture of nerves and determination. He had faced storms, predators, and skepticism, and each time he had learned, adapted, and earned the tribe's trust. Now it was time to solidify that trust, to demonstrate that humans' greatest strengths, reasoning, empathy, and cooperation, could guide not just survival but unity. The female Lithari stepped forward, signaling the elders to approach. The largest, with fur streaked in deep emerald, moved to the front of the clearing. Elias could sense the telepathic presence of the elder, strong and deliberate. "Today you will show the tribe your full worth. We look to you." Elias nodded, taking a deep breath. He turned to the tribe and began speaking, using gestures, demonstrations, and the limited telepathic guidance the female provided. "We've faced challenges before," he began, "storms, predators, danger. Each time we worked together. Today we will do the same, but in a way that strengthens everyone." They practiced communication and coordination, responding to signals that could be used in emergencies. He showed them ways to fortify their shelters using natural materials, methods that required intelligence more than brute strength. The tribe followed attentively, some skeptical at first, but as they saw the logic and success of his techniques, their trust in him deepened. A sudden rustling in the forest caught Elias' attention. A small group of Lithari younger than the rest had wandered toward a cluster of unstable trees. He acted immediately, guiding them to safety with calm but firm gestures. The female Lithari mirrored his movements, her presence reassuring the younger members. The elders watched silently, clearly evaluating his reactions. Elias realized this was another test. Leadership was not just planning and strategy, it was protecting the most vulnerable. The group returned safely to the clearing, and Elias felt a wave of relief. He had managed the crisis without force, without fear, simply by using observation, logic, and calm guidance. The elders exchanged low, melodic sounds, which Nira translated as a form of approval and recognition. Elias smiled faintly. He could feel their respect growing, not through domination, but through action and understanding. Next, he turned to a larger challenge, organizing the tribe for exploration beyond the central clearing. The forest stretched endlessly, full of mysteries, some safe and some dangerous. Elias proposed a methodical approach, small, coordinated groups, each led by experienced Lithari but guided by his strategic instructions. The tribe nodded, subtly at first, then more confidently as they grasped the plan. As they moved into the deeper forest, Elias noticed signs of territorial disputes among subgroups of the tribe. Small tensions had existed, fueled by differences in experience and instinct. He paused, realizing that leadership here meant more than guiding survival. It meant uniting them. He spoke to the female Lithari, who understood his intentions immediately, and together they approached the disputing groups. Using calm gestures and a combination of demonstration and telepathic suggestion, Elias mediated the conflict. He encouraged cooperation, showing how combining strengths could benefit everyone. The skeptical subgroups observed, then gradually began to follow his guidance. Elias felt a surge of satisfaction. Humans had a unique ability to see the bigger picture, to plan for collaboration rather than confrontation, and here it was making a real difference. As the day progressed, they reached a section of the forest that had been blocked by fallen trees and thick vines. To the Lithari, this was a natural obstacle, one they might have avoided entirely. But Elias saw an opportunity to demonstrate problem-solving and creativity. He showed them how to use leverage with fallen branches, how to anchor vines to create safe paths, and how to move together efficiently. The tribe followed his instructions carefully, impressed by the effectiveness of his methods. By the time the sun began to dip, casting long golden shadows across the forest floor, the tribe had successfully crossed the difficult terrain. They paused at a high clearing, overlooking a valley of glowing plants and distant waterfalls. The view was breathtaking, and for the first time, Elias saw the tribe not just as individuals, but as a unified group capable of remarkable things when guided by reason and cooperation. The female Lithari approached him, brushing her fur against his arm. Elias smiled, placing his hand on her head gently. "We did it together," he said softly. She responded with a soft hiss and a flick of her tail, a gesture of mutual respect and acknowledgement. The elders gathered around, and Elias sensed the telepathic presence of the largest one. "You have led us. You have shown intelligence, care, and vision. You are our alpha." Elias felt a mixture of pride and humility. He had not sought this role, yet he had earned it through patience, understanding, and action. The tribe's recognition was a testament to humanity's ability to contribute meaningfully, even in worlds far removed from Earth. He realized that this bond, the trust, the guidance, the shared experiences, was something rare and valuable, something that transcended species. As night fell, the tribe celebrated beneath the glowing canopy. Bioluminescent plants lit the clearing in soft, shifting colors, and the Lithari moved gracefully, their melodic sounds filling the air. Elias stood among them, feeling fully accepted, fully part of their world. The female Lithari remained by his side, her golden eyes reflecting pride and trust. Elias addressed the tribe with gestures and soft speech, conveying what he had learned from them and what they could achieve together. He spoke of cooperation, of using each other's strengths to face challenges, and of respecting the forest and its creatures while ensuring their safety. The tribe listened, nodding and echoing his ideas with melodic sounds that conveyed agreement. Later, as the celebration wound down, Elias sat quietly by a small glowing pool with the female Lithari. He thought about the journey he had taken, from a lone human on a strange planet to a trusted leader of an alien tribe. The challenges had been immense, but he had learned, adapted, and grown. Humanity's greatest strengths, intelligence, empathy, and the ability to unite, had proven their value in a world that was both beautiful and dangerous. "You've taught me a lot," he whispered to the female. She nudged his hand gently, acknowledging the truth in his words. He smiled, feeling a deep sense of connection. This bond, this partnership, had transformed him. He was no longer just an outsider. He was part of something greater, a bridge between species, a symbol of what humans could achieve when guided by compassion and reason. As the night deepened, Elias looked at the glowing canopy above, the forest alive with subtle movement and sound. He realized that humanity's place in the universe was not limited to strength or technology. It lay in understanding, empathy, and the courage to act wisely. He had proven that humans could thrive anywhere, earn trust, and create bonds that transcended worlds. The female Lithari curled against him, warm and trusting, and Elias felt a quiet contentment. The tribe had accepted him, challenges had been overcome, and the future held countless possibilities. He knew that adventures awaited, that dangers and mysteries of Lithara Prime were far from fully revealed, but he also knew that together, with the tribe, with the female, and with the unique strengths of humanity, they could face anything. Elias closed his eyes beneath the softly glowing forest, feeling the pulse of the bioluminescent light on his arm and the gentle presence of the female at his side. For the first time, he felt fully at home on an alien world, not as a visitor, but as a leader, a protector, and a friend. Humanity had proven itself once again, not through dominance, not through raw power, but through intelligence, compassion, and connection. Elias Mercer had begun as a healer, but he had become an alpha, a symbol of hope and unity, showing that humans could shine brightly even among the stars. The forest whispered around him, alive with light and sound, and Elias knew that this was only the beginning. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, and new discoveries. But he was ready. With the tribe beside him and the bond he had forged, he would continue to explore, guide, and demonstrate the value of humanity in a universe filled with wonder and mystery. And as he drifted to sleep under the glowing canopy, Elias Mercer felt a quiet certainty. Humanity had a place everywhere, even in the most alien worlds, and with trust, empathy, and courage, there was no challenge they could not overcome. The journey had begun as a simple act of healing. Now it had grown into a story of connection, leadership, and mutual respect. A story that would continue as long as humans dared to explore, understand, and care. And for Elias, for the female Lithari, and for the entire tribe of Lithara Prime, the future was bright, boundless, and filled with hope.